Welcome back. You're watching Profit Fundamental. The markets are looking relatively steady today with 0.5% in terms of gains. So I'll segue straight into discussion around the trade picture. The Board of Trade met the Commerce Minister last week, and we're looking ahead to the foreign trade policy on how we look at our external sector in the year ahead. Joining me to give us some thoughts of what the industry would like, Mr. Adi Godrej, Chairman of the Godrej Group, also Head of CI. Very good morning to you, Mr. Godrej. Thanks so much for agreeing to speak with us again. So I want to understand from you what the big picture on the external sector on the trading side is, as you see it. Lots of I guess thoughts would have been exchanged at the Board of Trade meeting. Firstly, let me ask you for an outlook as we're getting into a new fiscal year. Are things looking a little better from where you stand, sir?
Yes, I think so. And clearly, as on the trade front, we need to contain the current account deficit, which has increased very considerably over the last year. I think the Board of Trade discussed the various issues. It was clear that we need to work both on increasing exports considerably as well as containing imports without affecting growth. Both are possible, and that way the current account deficit can be brought down very considerably, which to my mind will help contain the fiscal deficit and will clearly help accelerate GDP growth in the country.
Let me ask you about the import side, Mr. Godrej. I mean, a lot has said and been done about gold, so I'll leave that aside. But even on other imports, sir, what are you suggesting? A more granular strategy which looks at individual segments and then tries to perhaps curtail imports, perhaps looks at import substitution strategies. How does one tackle it?
Yes, as you rightly put it, gold was one of the biggest problems. In the year 11-12, we imported about $60 billion worth of gold. Several steps have been put in place to contain gold imports. The other major import into India is vegetable oils. And we went into a policy where we had zero import duty, and the exporting countries like Malaysia and Indonesia put export duties. So we didn't benefit at all, they benefited. And we have suggested that a 10% import duty should be put on crude vegetable oils and a 20% import duty on refined vegetable oils. This will help contain vegetable oil imports. It will also help production domestically. There's huge scope for increasing domestic production. So such steps with an individual look at each product group could help very considerably.
That's absolutely right. In fact, I think vegetable oil imports had hit a record last month, the numbers that had come out. So the domestic production is not, I mean, there's no shortfall in domestic production on that particular area, you're saying? Only because of these duty anomalies are we seeing such high imports, sir?
No, even if there is a shortfall in domestic production, some years there could be. But first of all, we should work towards long-term production increase in both oilseeds crops and things like oil palm in India. But even if there's a shortage, we can always import it. But we should not import it at zero duty as we did in the recent past, because all the exporting countries do is to put an export duty counteracting that.
So, the other issue on the import side that people are worried about for next year is coal imports. I mean, I guess we are in a situation where we don't have anything to do about it, but that's going to be another big weight under all of these new FSAs, the kind of coal that will need to be imported.
No, we can do a lot about it. We should increase coal production in India. We are endowed with one of the largest deposits of coal in the world. We have not adequately increased coal production in India over the years. First of all, having a government monopoly on coal mining, to my mind, should be changed. Policies should be changed. Protecting the environment is extremely important, but it should be done with science and technology, not at the cost of development. So coal, if we increase Indian production, we can bring down coal imports. It's the same with iron ore. Our exports of iron ore have come down because we have taken steps which have affected iron ore production in the country. Again, environment should be paid a lot of attention. Science and technology should be employed, but we should produce our mining production in this country must go up so that we are not dependent on imports.
Absolutely. Mr. Godrej, on the export side, what is the bigger strategy that has emerged? Is it about sort of, extending some of the incentives? I read about labor, intensive sectors where you'd want to, continue support. I guess that's justified. But beyond that, some of these diversification strategies, etc., are we taking those further?
Yes, we need to. Very clearly, export incentives over the years we brought down. Now, until the GST comes, where all the indirect tax refunds will be available, we need to support exports through incentives. We also need to help on the financial side. Our interest costs for exporters are the highest in the world. We need interest subvention across the board in exports. If both these steps are taken in the new policy, I think our export growth can increase very considerably.
And what about slightly more medium-term issues like the SEZ story? So I think a lot of people are wondering whether there's a future in the SEZ story. We need to restructure that entire mechanism or not. Was that discussed? So any thoughts there?
Yes, that was discussed, and we have strongly put forth that this applying MAT to SEZ profits, the minimum alternate tax, was a wrong step, and we should work out so that SEZs become viable and thriving.
All right, so we look ahead to that foreign trade policy. The external sector has been a big weight, as you started by saying, and solving some of the problems there should be a priority. Thanks, Mr. Godrej. Very kind of you to join us as always.
Good talking to you.
With your thoughts. That's Adi Godrej. We'll leave it at that. On Profit Fundamentals, buy or sell comes up. We'll pick up on markets, stock-specific action. Have a great day ahead.